From the 1011 Now streaming studio in Lincoln, Nebraska, this is the REPORT Husker Show, sponsored by Fat Dog's Convenience Store.
Hi, everybody. Bill Rentschler alongside 1011 Sports Director Kevin Suits in the 1011 streaming studio for the REPORT Husker Show, brought to you by Fat Dog's Convenience Store. Unfortunately, after a Husker loss, 30-27 against Michigan, Nebraska could not complete their comeback. Kevin, it was kind of all laid out for them to, have a feel-good win against ranked team, something they haven't done since 2016, and couldn't quite pull it off.
It's a similar feeling for a lot of Husker fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was a little bit something different about this game, though, Bill, because Nebraska entered 3-1, and if you even followed some of the Vegas lines, it had shifted with Nebraska as the favorite before this game. So there were so many things that were lined up, and it seemed like Nebraska was primed to end its 27-game skid against ranked opponents. I mean, that spans 9 years. It's crazy.
Oregon, 2016.
But if you think about all the losses over the course of that time, Nebraska was often an underdog, sometimes a very big underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a lot of optimism heading into this game internally for Nebraska, from the fan base, and even those that were watching from afar just with interest because it's two iconic college football programs, Nebraska, Michigan. And the game was a little bit weird in the first half. And I say weird because Nebraska went down by 10 points.
Yep.
And I think a lot of fans started thinking, yeah, I've seen this before.
Yep.
But then the second quarter surge happens, including a Hail Mary, which is going to be on ESPN's top plays. And what a moment that was. An incredible catch by Ja'Cory Barney Jr. And then the stadium's charged up again. And I think it really comes down to, I know so many people, we're going to talk about this as this goes on, Bill, about the decision to go for it on 4th and a few in the first quarter when Nebraska's in the red zone. They also missed a field goal. They lose by 3. You can connect the dots. But for me, the bigger issue was Michigan's 8-minute drive in the fourth quarter where they converted 3 third downs. And each of those third downs, Bill, Nebraska had them stopped behind the line to gain, but there was a missed tackle.
They're game winners, and those are the kinds of drives that we haven't seen Nebraska be able to do in these types of games over the last several years.
It's almost like it would have been more acceptable for Nebraska just to get beat over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Because
more time
in a way it was almost a death by 1,000 paper cuts because you saw the clock continue to bleed. And then you start doing the numbers game. Well, if Michigan scores here, we're down by 10. And how do you erase 10 with 5 minutes left or whatever the exact moment was going to be? And so you knew, you're evaluating two different things. One, the margin on the scoreboard, and two, how much time is left. And, I mean, it was just a tough fourth quarter for Nebraska because they didn't possess the ball much.
And, I mean, you see the stats there on the screen. Dylan Raiola had a pretty good day, considering that he was running for his life a lot of the time. Michigan defensive line looked and played really well. They spent a lot of time in the backfield. I believe 7 sacks for Michigan and their defensive line. So they would go from periods where, they couldn't block anyone to periods where the offense looked pretty good. It was kind of Jekyll and Hyde.
Dylan made a lot of plays.
He did.
And I don't know if you saw it, but Dan Orlovsky, who's one of the lead NFL reporters for ESPN, he posted something after the game that says one of the best quarterbacks in college football resides in Lincoln, Nebraska. I mean, that's pretty high praise.
Yeah.
And some of that, I mean, there's some sympathy for Dylan because the offensive line did not play well, and he was having to scramble time and time again, and he just has such a short clock to make a decision to make a good throw. Keep in mind, this was game number 17 for Dylan Raiola. If he's doing that right now, think about how he projects as a junior and a senior if he's still on campus as a senior.
Yeah.
Because he's got elite arm talent. Man, he made some great throws. And even, we shouldn't just push aside the fact that Nebraska drove the field with less than 4 minutes to go to get the score while down by 10 and create a little bit of drama there late in the game.
Yeah. I think they got they scored. It was like a little more than a minute left. That was a pretty good onside kick. Had a good bounce. Close to potentially doing something with it there, but then they couldn't hold Michigan after Michigan recovered the onside kick. Again, one of the things people had kind of worried about was the size of the defensive line, and I feel like today was a game as you go into Big Ten play where maybe it's like, kind of gives you some concerns. Michigan ends up with almost 300 yards rushing. Again, a lot of that came really over 3 plays.
Yeah, what did Justice Haynes finish with in terms of his rushing per carry? Because entering the game, he was at 7.9.
8.8.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it's what he does.
Yeah, he's
you
a
know,
good player.
And Michigan committed to the run.
Did.
And I think that's maybe the thing that makes this a pill that's hard to swallow for Nebraska, a team that wants to run the football. Nebraska's rushing offense, non-existent at times today.
43 yards.
Yeah, 43 yards. That's pretty much non-existent. Whereas Michigan committed to the run. They were effective with the run, and it wasn't just Justice Haynes. They had their second back come in and be pretty effective on the ground as well. That was Jordan Marshall. Jordan Marshall, 6 carries, 80 yards. That's their backup running back. Pops in and he just is giving Haynes a breather. And even think about that situation where Nebraska scored its first touchdown. The beautiful throw to Barney over the middle from Dylan Raiola. That was an excellent throw, by the way. But Michigan goes the other way. Quick answer. First play, right after that, it's a 75-yard touchdown run by Michigan. Michigan in the first half had 2 touchdowns that were one-play drives. And that's what made it kind of weird. That's what makes college football pretty fantastic, because you never know what to expect. I think some fans might want to be just thankful that this was a game in the second half, because there were a few moments where you don't feel good about Nebraska hanging in there, and they did. And I think Michigan is a pretty above-average football team.
Oh yeah, you can tell. Even if Bryce Underwood, who's a freshman, you can tell he's a freshman, but you can also tell he's a really, really good player. Do you put any stock into the fact that they were able to hang around and they were able to make this a close game towards the end?
Yeah, I do, but I'm not going to be moral victory guy today, because I think so many people thought this was the day. And how many times have fans said that? This is the day. The streak ends.
Many.
Well, I really, truly feel that the confidence level of ending the skid was higher today than any game over the past 28.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen. And it didn't happen. Why? Well, the offensive line didn't play very well and missed tackles.
Yeah.
And there was a coaching decision that I think a lot of people are going to criticize, because Nebraska lost by 3, and they could have just taken 3 on the opening drive of the game.
And it's one of those decisions where it's like you've struggled inside the 5 this year. This has happened to you already multiple times. And, Rule talked in the Post like, hey, the analytics overwhelmingly say go for it.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that, because I didn't get to see all of the post-game news conference because of some of our other obligations. As I think about it, I don't know that I'm – how do I put this? I don't know that I'm more confused by the decision to go for it as I am the actual play call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, giving the ball to Luke Lindenmeyer on a shovel pass to the tight end, I don't – is that really the go-to play?
Rule said it was an
4th and 2 or 3
RPO, and I think he said there were 3 options on that play.
Well, that's good to know. Maybe the criticism shouldn't go toward the play call, maybe just the read in the moment. But again, that's putting a lot on a sophomore quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you convert that, I mean, man, you've really
that's a pretty good opening drive.
Throwing your weight around a little bit against the 21st ranked team in college football at home, and it really energizes the crowd, and it probably leads to a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they're now 3-1 on the season again, and now you run into a bye week, which Dylan Raiola, again in the Post, he said it sucks taking a loss into the bye week, because now they have to sit, and that's what they have to think about for the next 2 weeks. But they have Michigan State at home. Michigan State undefeated so far this season. They're on the road
playing late tonight.
10:00 kick at USC, but. They have
a bye
weeks.
week as well. So these are going to be 2 teams on the opening week of October playing each other, both off of bye weeks. I think it's interesting that Dylan Raiola says it sucks about taking the loss into the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might be happy for a bye week because his body's going to be a little sore tomorrow, I would presume.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was thrown around, and Michigan hit hard.
They did. You could tell.
Not just Dylan, but there were some passes over the middle. There were some runs. There was one run in particular where Emmett Johnson got a first down, and as he is going down, his legs are wrapped up. One of the safeties is coming over, and it's legal.
Yeah.
Emmett just got crushed.
He got hit a couple times. Ja'Cory Barney got hit on that late drive there in the fourth quarter when he caught that ball, like the 5-yard line. He got popped.
Not targeting. It was reviewed.
It was reviewed, not targeting.
This was a bit of a step up physically than Houston Christian.
It was.
Understatement of the day.
So, but I guess going into the bye week, kind of what's your take on where the team is? Close loss to Michigan, good win against Cincinnati, and you did what you're supposed to do against those two inferior opponents.
Okay, let's go global view. Let's look at the big picture of the entire season. What were most people saying? Try to get to 10 wins?
8 wins, 9 wins, I feel like.
The optimistic people were saying
10 wins,
10 wins, college
contender.
football playoff, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this might be maybe the Kool-Aid doesn't taste that good. But there's still Kool-Aid flowing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska gets the bye week. They are 3-1, which 3-1 might be where a lot of people expected Nebraska. And if you break the season up into 3 different parts, 3 4-game parts, if you go 3-1 3 times, guess what? You're winning 9 games.
There you go.
9-3, kind of right on par with a lot of people thought. However, November's schedule is fairly challenging. So that's where maybe people are hoping that.
Pick up one.
But I think a lot of, when the schedule comes out and you're trying to make that game-by-game prediction, which I do not partake in that, they probably said Michigan's a loss.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I think you're on schedule.
So you're actually not too far off. And that's the, that's my overwhelming takeaway as you're asking me, what does this even mean? It means that the season is kind of what everybody thought it would be.
Yeah, yeah.
To start to lean one way more positively or negatively, you have to get deeper into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that it just kind of aligns that, they're 3-1. Most people probably thought they would be 3-1.
Yeah,
it's just about the body of work from the first 3 games and the result today, and feeling like this could have been the day. When's the next time Nebraska is going to play a ranked team?
Well, if Michigan State wins tonight, they could be ranked.
No, they're not going to.
You don't think so? Okay.
No.
Maryland's undefeated.
No.
Minnesota, no. Northwestern, no. USC.
Okay.
Probably.
That's in November.
Yeah, November 1st.
Okay, so the stigma of this winless streak against ranked opponents, it's going to linger for another month.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't think anything gets too far off. You know what? Nebraska wins their next 4 games. They might be ranked.
Yeah, Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, which on paper, it's a doable stretch.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
because it's not Nebraska. It's not like Nebraska got boat raced today, Bill.
No, they did not.
Like they lost 2-3 against the 21st ranked team in college football.
And coulda, shoulda, woulda, missed a field goal. Probably should have kicked a field goal. They left points out there.
Yeah.
So, again, outside of, those big run plays that they let
that's
go.
the long-term viewer, like like I said, the global view of the impact of today's outcome. The hyper-focused one about the bye week, what does Nebraska need to do? How do we feel about it? The offensive line has to get better.
Yeah.
The defensive line has to get better.
Yeah.
And you got to keep your quarterback protected a little bit because of number 15, something happens. Now, TJ Lateef looked great against Houston Christian and Akron, but I think everybody wants number 15 on the field.
Yes, correct.
Having that happen game after game after game in the Big Ten, that's not good.
Same with someone like EJ, who taking those big hits. And you saw more Mekhi Nelson today, at least for a couple spells there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen more Quentin Ives. Don't know if he's fully healthy, and he got set back by an injury during fall camp. But I feel like there's some situations in which Mekhi Nelson was on the field. It just seemed like, given what we saw last year, that should be Quentin Ives' time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch how that race unfolds as you head through the Big Ten season. So, again, Michigan State, 2 weeks. It's still at home. They still have not, technically played a true road game. That won't happen until the October 11th Maryland game when they go out to Maryland, which Maryland went up to Madison and beat Wisconsin. And so they look like a decent, but Maryland's always pretty decent in September.
Hey,
so.
By the way, Archie Wilson finally got to punt.
He did, and you know what? I thought he played really well. He had what?
I don't know how he gets the ball to always bounce forward, but that's pretty awesome.
The Michigan punter didn't do it. We had a fortuitous bounce for Nebraska, bounce back about 20 yards. I think he had a 49-yard punt, a 52-yard punt, rolling out. to his left there. So he looked good. He finally got some play, which I think his family might still be in town, so they finally actually got to see him play some real football there. So, all right, Kevin. Well, we'll have a lot to kind of digest and look for as we go through the bye week. Again, 2 weeks without before we get another game here at home. So volleyball plays tonight, 8 o'clock. They're closing out non-conference play. How good do you think this Danny Busboom Kelly team really is?
We don't need to ask me that question again because I've said it too many times. They're really good.
Yeah, that'll be
watch them if you haven't yet. Watch them. Don't let this season pass by without Don't jump on the wagon in the Final Four because they're a special group and they're very fun to watch.
Yeah. So Arizona tonight, and then Michigan next week. So maybe we can get some revenge there and beat Michigan in volleyball. So appreciate you, Kevin.
Doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way?
No.
Darn. Appreciate you, Kevin, as always. Appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the REPORT Husker Show, sponsored by Fat Dog's Convenience Store. Watch, listen, and stream on the 1011 Now app, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. For more Husker coverage throughout the week, watch the Report on 1011 Sports at 6 and 10 p.m. and download the 1011 Now app.